In the wake of countrywide protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, CAA in short, Home Minister Amit Shah recently said that there is no connection between the National Population Register, that is NPR, and the National Register of Citizens, that is NRC. But these remarks came on a same day when Union Cabinet approved an allocation of rupees 3,941.35 crores for NPR. In this backdrop, let us see if there is any link between NRC and NPR on the basis of the existing legal frame governing them. Welcome one and all. My name is Sandeep Budla. I am a practicing advocate in Hyderabad High Court. Please like, share, comment on the video and subscribe to our channel. Now let's get into it. What is NPR? NPR means the National Population Register, which has its base in the rules framed by the central government in 2003 under the Citizenship Act 1955, and these rules are called the Citizenship Registration of Citizens and Issue of National Identity Cards Rules 2003. Incidentally, these are the same rules which give a legal framework for the National Register of Indian Citizens as well, and we'll cover this more on this below. And if we look at Rule 2.1 of these rules, which define the population register as, a population register means the register containing the details of persons usually residing in a village or rural area or town or ward or demarcated area demarcated by the Registrar General of the Citizen Registration within a ward in a town or urban area. Now, the Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner describes NPR as a register of usual residents in the country. A usual resident for the purpose of NPR is a person who has resided in a place for 6 months or more and intends to reside there for a period of another 6 months or more. Alright? So, continuation on that, the following demographic details of every individual were taken for NPR in 2010. Name of the person, relationship to the head of household, mother's name, father's name, spouse's name, sex, date of birth, marital status, place of birth, nationality, present address of usual residence, duration of stay at present address, permanent residential address, occupation, activity, and educational qualification. Now, who prepares the NPR? The Registrar General India acts as the National Registration Authority for NPR. Incidentally, the same officer also functions as the Registrar General of Citizen Registration for NRC as well. The preparation of NPR is carried out under the aegis of the central government. Under Sub-Rule 4 in Rule 3 of 2006 Citizenship Rules, the central government can decide the date by which NPR should be prepared. The data for National Population Register was first collected in 2010 along with house listing phase of census of 2011. The updating of this data was done during 2015 by conducting another door-to-door survey. And on July 31st, 2019, the Union Minister of Home Affairs issued a Gazette notification for starting the information collection process for NPR throughout the country except in Assam. And the process will begin at 1st April 2020 and it is expected to be completed by 30th September 2020. Another interesting point that I've been asked by many of my friends is that if census and NPR are one and the same, well, they seem similar to the common person at first, but there are some key differences between a regular census exercise carried out every decade and the NPR exercise. So let's see the differences now. What is the difference between NPR and census? Again, the census is an exercise carried out under the Census Act 1948. Census data is based on self-declaration made by the persons without verification. NPR is carried out as per 2003 citizenship rules. Under these rules, it is a compulsory for a person to share demographic data for preparation of NPR. Therefore, these rules have a coercive element as they penalize non-cooperating persons with fines and penalties. No penal consequences for failure to give data during the census process, but any failure to comply with the NPR data collection process can expose one to penal consequences under Rule 17 of the said 2003 rules. It may be noted that both these processes are carried out under the supervision of the single office, that is, the Office of Registrar General of India and Census Commissioner. Now coming on to the next topic, what is NRC, or sometimes it's also called as NRIC? NRC or NRIC means the Register of Indian Citizens. This has its base in section 14A of the Citizenship Act, which says among the other things that the central government may compulsorily register every citizen of India and issue a national identity card to him. The central government may maintain a national register of Indian citizens and for that purpose establish a national registration authority. Rule 3, Sub-Rule 1 of the 2003 rule states that the Registrar General shall establish and maintain the National Register of Indian Citizens. The National Register of Indian Citizens will be divided into 4 sub-registers: the State Register of Indian Citizens, the District Register of Indian Citizens, the Sub-District Register of Indian Citizens, the Local Register of Indian Citizens. Now, is there any link between NPR and NRC? A bare reading of 2003 rule reveals that NPR lays the foundation for NRC. The NRC will contain the details of the persons after due verification made from the NPR. This is clear from Rule 3, Sub-Rule 5, which says the local register of Indian citizens shall contain details of persons after due verification made from the population register. For making NRC, the particulars entered in NPR is first verified by the local register of citizens as per Rule 4, Sub-Rule 3. Following this verification, the NRC is finalized after removing doubtful citizens. The rules give power to the local register to mark doubtful citizens after the verification of NPR particulars. Now, Rule 4, Sub-Rule 4 says that during the verification process, particulars of such individuals whose citizenship is doubtful shall be entered by the local register with appropriate remarks in the population register for further inquiry, and in case of doubtful citizenship, the individual or the family shall be informed in a specified pro forma immediately after the verification process is over. The doubtful citizens are given an opportunity of hearing before removal. After that, a draft NRC for the local area is published and people are granted even opportunity to raise objections against inclusions in the NRC. And after this process, the final NRC is published. It is also pertinent to note that both NPR and NRC are under the same office. The Registrar General of India functions as Registrar General of Citizen Registration. Is NPR the first step for NRC? It is not necessary that NPR will lead to NRC. As stated, NPR was first made in 2010 and updated in 2015. This was not followed by NRC. However, the preparation of NRC as per 2003 rules can only be done after NPR. So NPR is a necessary precondition for NRC. The present dispensation has on many occasions expressed its intention to bring the nationwide NRC. Even during the Parliament discussion of the Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, Home Minister Amit Shah had spoken about the intention to prepare a nationwide NRC. Several statements of the government, as made in press releases, replies in the Parliament and documents of the Census Department, indicate that NPR 2020 is intended as a first step for NRC. These reports, there are also reports that the questionnaire for 2020 NPR is different from 2010 NPR, and the 2020 NPR schedule asks the details of the date of birth and the place of birth of one's parents in addition to the details sought in 2010 NPR. The citizenship status of one's parents is a determining factor for citizenship by birth after 1987 and 2003 amendments to the Citizenship Act 1955. This could be an additional factor showing a nexus between NPR and a possible NRC. Why is NRC problematic? The idea of asking a person who has been residing in India for several years to prove citizenship before administrative authorities on basis of documents can be problematic at implementation level. This can lead to bureaucratic high-handedness and arbitrariness, especially when a large section of Indian population is uneducated and backward. The recently concluded Assam NRC process, which excluded nearly 2 million persons, is an example. There are reports that process was riddled with flaws leading to arbitrary exclusions. The 2003 rules also create a category of doubtful citizens. a bizarre category that is inherently subjective and open to administrative interpretation. There are no guidelines mentioned as to how this unfettered discretion to mark doubtful citizen is to be exercised. The rules by themselves say nothing about what happens if you are found to be doubtful. But the amendment made to the Foreigners Tribunals Order 1964 in 2019 empower a district magistrate to refer a doubtful citizen to a foreigners tribunal. Another provision in the rules which can lead to a lot of hassles is Rule 4 Subrule 6 Subclause A, which enables any person to file objections against the inclusion of any other person in the local register of citizens. This can be a problematic provision with a lot of possibilities of abuse where executive officers without formal judicial training act at them. There are reports of foreign tribunals acting casually and callously to pass orders without reason. As per the present law, the burden will be on the individual to prove citizenship. So the consequences of any wrongful exercise of discretionary powers of NRC officials could be drastic. That is the delegitimization of a person. It can be devastating for majority of Indians in an inverse order to their proximity to privilege, paperwork and social power. Since there is no official notification regarding NRC, it is premature to talk about what documents may be sufficient to prove citizenship. At the framework of NRC rules places an individual at the mercy of administrative officers who can put one to a lot of hassles and hardship by an arbitrary exercise of powers. Is there any link between CAA and NRC? There is apparently no link, but there were remarks made by the Amit Shah during campaign for 2019 elections that the government will bring NRC, which will be followed by the CAA in order of the chronology. When the protest against CAA intensified across the nation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that there was no discussion on NRC at all on Sunday. CAA may come in aid of at least one section of persons who may not happen to get excluded from a possible nationwide NRC in case they prove they are non-Muslim migrants who had fled religious persecution from Pakistan, Bangladesh or Afghanistan and that they had entered India before 31 December 2014. The possible impact of CAA on Assam NRC list is also a matter which will be highly discussed. Some of the news coverage related to CAA protests show that great opposition that Modi government is facing over this issue. Although these news outlets are covering the protests, not many of them are aware of these legal nuances. Therefore, my endeavor here is to help you understand the legal framework behind the issue and help you exercise our democratic rights in an informed and peaceful manner. Please like, share, comment on this video and subscribe to our channel by pressing the bell icon so that you won't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching.